What is up, everyone? Welcome to today's live stream. Let me pull this up to make sure my audio sounds good. So hold on just a second. We're going to get into it. We got some good subjects to go over today. Got some good stuff going on today. Okay, it sounds good. Very cool. I'm going to leave that up for chat. All right. Sorry, I'm a little bit dark. I don't know why I got these super bright lights, but they are not really working that great. Do you need to turn that down? I don't want to hear myself. Man, if you are in West Texas like I am, it has been raining non-stop for a little bit, which has been really nice for a change. Let me pull up my old chat real quick. So YouTube, just in case any of you hop in here, I want to be able to talk to you. If you are in the chat, or if you're joining this later after it is streamed, let me know where you're watching it from, because I'm always curious about that. Alright, cool. Got YouTube chat just in case anybody pops up. Love having you guys here. Got some really cool things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about my top unpopular opinions when it comes to personal finance. And then we're also going to talk about how devastating it is that 60% of millennials earning over $100,000 say they're living paycheck to paycheck. There's an article from Insider magazine, or Business Insider magazine. So we're going to look at that, which is crazy to me. But we'll talk about that. And then also we are going to go over how to prepare for the upcoming, we don't know when, but the upcoming economic crash, which is coming, whether we like it or not. So anyways, we'll kind of jump into that. Again, if you are in the chat, say what's up. Love to have you. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna start off right off the bat with my unpopular opinions of personal finance, see if I can ruffle some feathers and maybe hopefully create a little bit of conversation going forward. So I'm gonna jump into it. Hey, what is up, guys? Hey, my name is Rick. I'm a financial coach. I'm the owner of the Debt Free Mafia. Hey, if you are into the debt-free living lifestyle, if you don't want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore, if you don't even like the idea of that, if you like the idea of financial freedom, and you like the idea of leaving a legacy for your children and your children's children, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, go ahead and comment. Let me know where you're watching this from. I'd love to know where all the people that are watching the Debt Free Mafia are coming from. I want to thank you guys. We've already gotten up to, I think, about 65 subscribers, which has been awesome. My goal by the end of the year is to somehow pull off 1,000. That's going to be really difficult, I think, but with you guys' help, I think we can pull it off. I am planning on doing a giveaway once we hit 100 subscribers. I'm going to give away a really cool t-shirt, Debt Free Mafia t-shirt. It's a t-shirt I wear all the time. I love it. I think it's super good quality, and the logo is sick. As you know, it's this little logo. It's like right here. It's on it. It's really cool. So we're going to do that. But today, I wanted to give you my top unpopular opinions when it comes to personal finance. So you can let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with them. I'm all for it. I am an open book. I will tell you right off the bat, I have a philosophical difference when it comes to personal finances compared to a lot of financial gurus out there. So my philosophical difference is I've been overwhelmed with finances before. I've been completely stressed out. I felt like the system was built against me. I felt like I wasn't in a position where I could ever succeed with finances without taking on substantial risk. My mind has been changed on that. My philosophy when it comes to personal finance is avoiding risk while being really smart with your money and living a life of peace, not a life of wealth. Even though wealth building is part of what we do here, our whole thing is not about getting rich quick. It's about building wealth over time and doing it the smart way, not the risky way. So first, unpopular opinion, stop your investing if you have debt. That's a super unpopular one. A lot of financial gurus, whether you watch randoms on TikTok or we've talked about him here before, but man, what is his name? Grant Cardone, guys like that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, forget his name. I always struggle to remember it. But those kinds of guys, what they do is they say something along the lines of, it's cheap to borrow money because the interest rates are low, but the interest you can make on like investment properties and building big portfolios of potentially great stock earns you way more interest than what you'd be paying the bank. So that's their philosophy. Ours is different. We want to avoid risk, and we want to increase cash flow month to month. So what I always tell my clients to do, we're going to pay off debt first, then we're going to build an emergency fund, then we are going to get focused on investing. And I mean heavy investing. Once our clients pay off their debt, get their emergency fund in place, then we get them to start setting aside 15% of their take-home pay for investments, so that way they really start to snowball that wealth into something that really compounds over time. So the reason why we do that is because we want to get that debt gone, we want that risk gone, we want that stress gone, we want to live a life of peace. Then we're going to focus on investing. And what a lot of pushback I would get on that is, the earlier you start investing, the way better. I mean, and it's 100% true. It's 100% true. But again, I preach and teach peace here, not getting rich as fast as possible, right? So that's a big difference there. So that's number one. Number two is that you need to sell your car in most cases if you owe money on it. The reason I have this is because I think Americans probably waste more money on car payments than just about anything else. Average car payment in America is like $570. And again, if we go back to the investment thing, you put away $570 away every single month, compared to having a car payment. You can make a ton of money. I mean, a ton of money by doing that. I had that in another video. It's called Car Payments Are Stupid. Go check it out if you want to know what the math is on that. But in most cases, you need to sell it because if something were to happen, you have a giant car payment, and more than likely you're going to have to either repo it or whatnot. I've actually had clients who have had to sell their car and take a loss on it, take a personal loan to make up on the difference that they had lost on it, because it was a bad investment. A lot of people are upside down on cars, which is really tough. But especially if you're right side up on your car and you still have a payment, I always advise my clients to sell their car, because we don't need car payments. We drive old used cars here because that's what the average millionaire does. They drive old used cars. So next, this one is also kind of goes along with the first two, and that's that you need to pay cash for investment. That doesn't mean you go down to the bank and get cash and go buy stock with it. I'm just saying don't buy investments with debt. That kind of goes along with that very first thing they were saying. Again, that's super popular right now, is to go and borrow a bunch of money. And for whatever reasons, there's all these multi-millionaire gurus that drive McLarens on TikTok that apparently go to the bank and buy all these rental properties and talk about how rich you can get off of Airbnbs. Look, if that's you, that's you. But here at the Debt Free Mafia, we're not about that. We want to live lives that are peaceful when it comes to finances. We want to finish our race well and not put our family at risk. Now, if you're a young single person and you don't have a family to support and you want to take on all that risk, by all means. I took on a crazy amount of risk and decided that was not for me. Again, that's kind of in my story. You can go check out that video. Just check out kind of my debt-free journey. Got some videos on that also. Okay, last thing. This is super unpopular, but it's very important. We idolize Christmas. I think there are so many Americans. I literally saw a post the other day that said, "We're exactly 6 months away from Christmas. How excited are you?" Get it. So I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. Like, I love celebrating the birth of him. I love everything about that part. However, you can tell what you idolize by what you spend the most money on. And this is not a guilt trip, okay? I'm not trying to guilt you here. But you can tell what you idolize by what you spend the most money on. And Americans spend a astronomical amount of money on Christmas. December is the number one month to go into debt. More people blow their budget in December than any other month, and it's all obvious. And a lot of people feel this pressure by society to want to, and even loved ones, that they have to be some sort of awesome gift giver. Like, I'm a free spirit when it comes to my finances. I really am. It's funny because I'm a financial coach, but I get it. I get the perspective of the free spirit because that's what I am. And one of my love languages is giving gifts. So Christmas is super hard on me because I want to be able to give, and that's the way I show affection, is by gift giving. And you might be that way, you might not. By giving gifts and receiving gifts, that's one way that I feel affection and distribute basically love, receive love. I know it's kind of weird, but if you haven't looked into if you haven't looked into love languages, it's super helpful in understanding your behavioral patterns, which we talk about a lot here, is behavior being so closely tied with finances. So guys, those are my top unpopular opinions when it comes to finances. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree, disagree? I always love the conversation. I'm an open book, open-minded when it comes to that stuff. Again, guys, if you are interested in the debt-free mafia, if you're interested in the debt-free lifestyle, please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel. I do want to give an awesome t-shirt giveaway at 100 subscribers. We're 35 away. So if you don't mind, I'd love for you to be a part of this community. We're building something awesome here. Guys, again, love you. Thank you so much for stopping by, checking out this video. Peace. Awesome. Let me double check. I want to check and see if we got anybody hanging out with us. If you're hanging out, throw in the chat where you're watching from. I'd love to know. I'm working on trying to come up with a consistent schedule on when to go live so that I can be a little bit more available, you know, or like have schedules so that people can hang out. That's the goal anyways. But yeah, so I also have a newborn, so that's part of the reason why it's a little bit difficult. A little bit difficult to come up with a consistent schedule at the moment. And I just recently went full-time into financial coaching full-time, so kind of working through all of those things has been awesome, but also getting into a routine has probably been the hardest part so far, if I'm being completely honest. So good deal. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up real quick, and we're going to talk about how to prepare for the upcoming economic bust, because it's coming. And I'm not saying this to make you fearful. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you get peace now, because it is coming. That's just the way the economy works. It goes up and down. But we're gonna talk about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this and start my YouTube video for it. So what is up, guys? Hey, welcome to today's video. My name is Rick. I'm a financial coach. I'm the owner of the Debt-Free Mafia. Today I wanted to talk about how you can prepare and have the most peace possible for the next economic bust, which is coming. It is coming. It's around the corner. We don't know if it's going to be this year, next year, or the year after, right? But it is coming, and I want to talk about today how you can prepare for that. And we're going to talk about such things like emergency funds, what you should be calculating, why a written cash flow plan is going to be important for that. We're also going to be talking about things like, you know, what you need to do in order to kind of prepare for that the smart way, so that you don't have a ton of payments every month, so you can have a little more cash flow, which is, you know, cash coming in and not leaving, right? So we want to be talking about that. So anyways, guys, if you are down with the debt-free vibe, if you like the debt-free lifestyle, if you like the idea of it, if you like financial freedom, if you like financial independence, if you like leaving a legacy for your children's children, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'd love for you to be a part of this community. Again, we are going to be doing a t-shirt giveaway at 100 subscribers. We're only 35 away. So if you don't mind, hit that. We're going to do that giveaway. I'd love for you to be a part of it. We're going to give away a sweet t-shirt. I love these t-shirts. They're Debt-Free Mafia t-shirts, same t-shirts I give my clients. High quality, really cool logo. As you can see, it's the little Debt-Free Mafia logo. I hope I pointed the right way. Yeah, this guy right here. It has that on. It's really cool. I love that shirt. I wear it a lot. My wife washes a lot. I need to make like 4 or 5 of them because I really enjoy wearing them. But okay, all right, let's jump right into this. We're gonna go into number one. Okay, number one, and you're gonna find this anywhere you go, whether no matter what the philosophy is when it comes to personal finance. But this is gonna be having an emergency fund. So if you're familiar with this, right around the first step that I usually have with people is we are going to save $1,000. Doesn't matter if you're in debt or whatever it is. As long as you're taking care of your house, you're making your rent, your bills, like your electric, sewer, garbage, water, all of those bills, you have enough money for clothes and transportation. As long as you're making all those payments, the next thing we're going to focus on is making sure you have $1,000. You can have up to $2,000. I don't recommend going over that, because after we get over the $2,000, what I really want you to focus on is paying off your debt. And you might be saying, oh, well, shouldn't we just be throwing money completely away to prepare for this thing? That's a great question. And the answer is, if something happens catastrophically in your family, like, or in your surroundings, like there's a job loss or somebody gets pregnant, and I shouldn't say catastrophic because pregnancy is a great thing, but if there's a big life change is what I should say. So job loss, pregnancy, family death, I mean, you name it, family trouble, if there's just something that's big and you know it's going to weigh on your finances, you pause paying debt. Like, you still make your minimum payments, but you pause the paying the debt and you focus on just stashing money until that season has come and gone. Okay, so if there's no like big life change that happens to that, save that $2,000, get busy on paying off that debt. Why should we be doing that? Okay, so hear me out. That debt is going to be there even when hard times come. So let's get it taken care of, because if we get it taken care of and you can knock out like your smallest debts first, and you don't have these little, $50, $75, $100, $150 payments coming out every single month, that's an extra $50, $75, $100, $150 that you're able to save every month if something were to happen, right? So the less debt we have, the less debt payments we have, the easier it is for us to save for something or be able to invest in something once we get past that, etc. That's a different story. But first thing, emergency fund. After we pay off that debt, got to pay off that debt, right? So if we don't have any debt, if you didn't have any debt, if you're watching this and you have debt, imagine you don't have any debt. I'm even talking like, get to the point like, imagine not even having like a mortgage. All you're doing is cashing your check twice a month, and you pay for your bills, your groceries, and that's about it. How much extra money do you have? Hopefully a lot. You should have a lot, right? It's way easier to endure something crazy like an economic bust whenever all you have is income and not expenses, right? Most of us are going to have like a mortgage payment or rent. That's normal. But imagine not having any other debt. You're going to have great income and little expenses, which will go a long way in an economic bust. So very important. And we talked about paying off debt. That's the second point. Got to pay off debt because it increases money that you have month to month. Third point, getting on a budget. It is really hard to do those first two steps if you don't have a budget. We teach a zero-based budget. I have a video on that and why it's the best. You can search on the page, on my page about it. But essentially, we're making sure that we capture every single dollar that's coming into our bank account, making sure it's going to something. So be sure that you have some sort of budget set in place, because if you don't, it's way harder to hit financial goals if you don't have a plan on how to get there. So do that. If you haven't hired a financial coach, go find you a financial coach. They're worth their weight in gold. They really do a great job. So there's really good options there. Okay, this is another one. Making sure your house payment is low. I put this in here because this was a big problem with the last economic bust back in 2008. That recession, you remember that thing? That was because there were some things that they called toxic mortgages. Why were they toxic? Well, it was because they had adjustable interest rates. So 1 month people were paying let's say $1,000 a month. Interest rate got changed. Next month they're having to pay $2,000. Well, this happened to literally hundreds of thousands of people, and guess what happened? They all went into foreclosure because they couldn't afford these giant leaps in payments, right? These toxic mortgages were the sole cause of, there's several factors, but they were one of the sole causes of this whole economic recession. I mean, the government had to come in and bail the banks out because the banks had so many people go basically bankrupt on their houses. They didn't even have enough cash to cover themselves. So the government had to literally come in and bail the bank out because the bank needed bailing out because they gave out so many bad mortgages. Don't even get me started on that. I don't want to get started on that, but that's why. So we want to make sure your house payment is low. Our rule of thumb is that you want it to be less than 25% of your monthly take-home pay. So if you make $4,000 a month, it needs to be $1,000 or less. Okay. The reason why is because it's a lot less stressful. If you're married, if one of you loses your job, or even if you're single and you lose your job, at least it's only 25% and not 50%. That's a big deal. And I'll even note this, one of the most troubling things is clients that get a divorce that I've had. I will tell you, in a divorce, you don't want the house. A lot of people are like, oh, I want the house. Well, that's great, but it also comes with a huge bill every single month. And now you're on a single income and you got to take care of this giant bill. So a lot of the times that house turns into a burden. We always want the house to be a blessing, not a burden. So make sure it's under 25% of your monthly take-home pay. Okay, next we got selling your car. We talked about this in the previous video, talking about most people need to sell their car. Well, most people need to sell their car. Why? Because the average car payment is $570 in North America. I think here in Midland County, it was like up over $600 for a little bit, which is like one of the most expensive in the United States, which blew my mind. But if you lived in the oil field, you would totally get why. However, very troubling, right? That's $570 extra dollars that you could have every month to be throwing at a savings if something happened, or providing for your family, or if one of you loses a job and you're married and you need to provide for the kids and stuff. It really stinks whenever you're having to sell her. You have $570 that you got to come up with every month extra. I will also say right now is a primo time to sell a car because used cars are like 15 to 20% more or inflated over what they were just last year. So you can get a premium for your used car right now. And you might be saying, well, I got to buy a car to replace it. Absolutely you do. I tell all my clients this that are in this predicament. Ask your friends if they have a used car that you could buy. This has worked. Word of mouth, and especially if you tell them I'm trying to be debt free, I'm trying to get my finances in order, they're probably way more willing to work with you on a good price. So do that. It does work. Just ask people on Facebook or social media, hey, I need a car. Anybody got a car for less than $3,000? Whatever it is, and see if you can't find a really good deal. And I've seen it happen time and time again. It worked for us. It's worked for other clients I've had. Do it. So, all right. One thing I gotta know some of these things kind of going forward. And these aren't necessarily ways to prep, but these are kind of some mindset things that I want you to be thinking about for this next economic crash. It's going to be, so kind of going back to the last recession. Let's talk about the last recession, the one that was in 2008, started late 2007, 2008 got hit, bled into 2009, even 2010. Unemployment doubled in our country in 2009. So that was the results of this recession, right? So there's a good chance, the chance doubles on unemployment, right? It could be worse. Some experts are saying worse, that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. So if you're watching this, there is a chance you could potentially lose your job. So that's why I want you to take this very seriously. Second, I don't want you to panic sell your investments because the stock market is going to crash along with the recession. Do not panic sell your investments. Investments are something that you're in it for the long run because the stock market goes up and down, but it always trends back up, okay? So do not panic sell. That is a dumb thing to do. Don't panic sell any of your investments, okay? Even if you're in a really bad spot, don't do it, okay? All right, lastly, this is one thing I want you to remember because you're gonna get bombarded with this, especially in the media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, doesn't matter where you're at. You've got to remember that fear sells better than hope. And you're going to get bombarded with all kinds of things of fear. And I don't want you to be afraid. This is not the first, this is not the last when it comes to economic recessions. So remember that. Do your best. All you can do is prepare. That's literally all you can do. That's all you can remember to do is be prepared, right? So, and it's not necessarily like you're going to be foolproof, right? This is life. We all live in a broken world. Things can happen. But guys, be encouraged. Be debt-free. Again, if you are digging the debt-free lifestyle, if you love financial freedom, if you are super into the idea of leaving a legacy not only to your kids but your children's children, go ahead and hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about these emergency preparedness steps for your economic crash, upcoming economic crash? Let me know. Is there anything I forgot? Is there anything you would recommend? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by again. Go ahead and hit subscribe. We're going to be doing that giveaway at 100 subscribers. Guys, I appreciate you. You have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye. Peace. All right, very cool. Very cool. Got one last video that I'm going to do with you guys. Again, if you are in the chat, let me know where you're watching from. Love to know. Okay, I'm going to get ready to review this. So we're going to talk about millennials and why they're broke. And I don't even like bashing on millennials because it's my generation and I want to stick up for my generation, but boy do we make some seriously bad mistakes. But I'm going to jump right into it because I'm getting kind of hot in this sweater and I'm going to go enjoy my Sunday. So, all right, we're going to jump into it. What is up, guys? Hey, my name is Rick. I am a financial coach and the owner of the Debt Free Mafia, and I'm so glad you're stopping by today's video. I wanted to talk about this super troubling statistic that 60% of six-figure earning millennials still live paycheck to paycheck. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to do a reaction to this article on Insider magazine. I'm going to link it in the description so that way you can go and check it out if you want to, but we're going to review it right here and talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this bad boy. and you're gonna get my pretty much raw reaction to it, because I went through it a little bit, but I didn't read it real hard. So I'm just gonna kind of give you my thoughts and my perspective on all of it. So let me pull this up real quick. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna drag this over so you guys can see it. All right, so we're gonna start this thing out. 60% of millennials earning $100,000 say they're living paycheck to paycheck. All right. In a new survey, 60% of millennials earning over $100,000 said they're living paycheck to paycheck. Some of these millennials, known as Henrys, preferred comfortable, expensive lifestyle. In today's economy, $100,000 is considered middle class in the U.S. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think 6%? You think it's just because of inflation? I don't. We can talk about that. Okay, high earning millennials feel broke. Yeah, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you probably relate to that, right? And that's not a dig. You can change that. It just takes a little bit of work. You're in the right place if you want to change that. Okay. All right. 60% of millennials ranking over $100,000 a year say they're living paycheck to paycheck. In a new survey by Payments and Lending Club, which analyzed economic data and census balance surveys of over 28,000 Americans, found that 54% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So look at this. The average American lives paycheck to paycheck. Well, I should say 54% of them do, right? Millennials are 60%. So millennials are worse at living paycheck to paycheck than other generations. A lot of them feel like they're living on constrained budgets that may or may not have to do with income or more to do with expenses, the report said. So I have a big issue with this, okay? So a lot of millennials, and I've heard the arguments, say that that things are too expensive, and I will agree that rent and housing prices in today's world, I'm talking about, this is June 27th, 2021, are high right now. They're a little high, but not astronomically high. Where I think the problem is millennials deal with the entitlement problem. They feel very much like they're owed something. And this is just a little bit of Rick advice. And this is advice I got when I was in college, and it really changed my perspective on things. Nobody owes you anything, and you don't deserve anything. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but you don't. Just because you went and did something nice doesn't mean you require, or you don't deserve something nice in return. That totally defeats the whole purpose of doing something nice or helping somebody, or just because. So I started a business. I started a business at 22 years old technically, and I worked my tail off. I did all of my homework, and guess what? It didn't work out. Matter of fact, I had to go through a bankruptcy because of it. And it was a big learning point for me, because I thought I would do all this right stuff, I would get something good in return. Guess what? I got the opposite. It was brutal. It was so brutal. However, God was good, used that whole scenario to set me up for what I'm doing today. So I'm not mad about it. But what I want to talk about is a lot of millennials I know, they feel like they need to go on awesome vacations. And if they don't get their yearly vacations to somewhere really nice, they're feeling absolutely defeated, broke, like they're mistreated almost. I'm being a little bit harsh, but it's true. And also it's like, if they don't live in a cool place, they feel like they're missing out. So a lot of millennials talk about high expenses. Well, so many of them are migrating to super expensive places like Nashville, Austin, Denver, I said Pacific Northwest, California. There's just this huge migration to these places that are cool, and don't get me wrong, they're super cool, but they're also massively expensive, right? And we don't have the income to justify that, because the ranking on priorities when it comes to millennials, self-indulgence is way up there. There's like self-indulgence, and then there's like doing a budget, right? So there's this big disconnect on this sense of, I'm owed a really cool place to live, or I'm owed that vacation this year, I'm owed that new car, or I'm owed this house because my friend's got a nicer house, my friend's gonna have a nicer car, my friend has a cooler job, my friend lives in a cooler place. There's just this constant lack of discontentment. So when we talk about when I talk to my clients about this, we talk about how contentment plays a huge role in living on less than you make. guess what? There's always going to be somebody with a nicer car. There's always going to be somebody with a nicer house. There's always going to be somebody living where you want to live. There's always going to be somebody going on a cooler vacation than you. It's never going to end, and you're always going to be thirsty. You're always going to be thirsty and never satisfied. So, however, if you make this mindset change that, hey, I'm not owed anything and I don't deserve anything, I promise you, your life will change. Not only that, if you can stop having expectations of people, this is just side wisdom. If you can stop having expectations of people, you will enjoy life way more. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Okay, so this says this is partly because of the lifestyle choices. Many of these millennials are like Henry's. Short for high earner, not rich yet. The acronym was invented in 2003, but is characterized to a group of 30-something six-figure earners who struggle to balance their spending and saving habits. I mean, have you guys gotten on like Instagram or like TikTok and you see these like people that all they do is they're like young people that flex? Chances are they're massively in debt. They can afford the payments every month, but they don't own anything. And here at the Debt Free Mafia, owe is better than own. Just kidding, other way around. Own is better than owe. I said that backwards. But yeah, that's the idea, right? So own is better than owe. So Henrys typically fall victim to lifestyle creep. When one increases one's standard of living to match the rise of discretionary income, they prefer a comfortable and often expensive lifestyle that leaves them paycheck to paycheck. We talk about this all the time to Debt Free Mafia. When it comes to succeeding at your finances, it's 20% math, so doing the budget, making sure you're investing, emergency fund, and 80% behavior. And that just speaks to this whole scenario right here. We have bad behavior when it comes to money. Again, they're also talking about how $100,000 isn't what it used to be, and it's not. It's not what it used to be. However, you can still do extremely well in America making $100,000 a year. Extremely well, but it requires sacrifice and determination and contentment. So be okay with that. Be okay with it. So this kind of goes on to talk about how college-educated 35-year-old earning more than $100,000 while juggling mortgage, student loan debt. Yeah, again, student loan debt is probably one of the biggest kickers. I hate student loan debt. It's one of the biggest scams out there. Millennials have half the wealth that baby boomers had at the same age. So yeah, I mean, and the number one culprit is student loans. And you cannot tell me that college degrees are worth what they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even 10 maybe. So yeah, and then it goes on to talk about affordability crisis, income increasing, simply have not kept up with the exponential increases in living costs. I think that there's some places that are incredibly affordable, but people don't want to live there because it's not cool. So yeah, cost of education has doubled, and that goes into student loans. Yeah, if you look at like a graph of like how much just books cost, that graph is super unfair. It's like we're paying like 8 times as much for books than what they were in the 90s, it's ridiculous. So I get super frustrated with the education system. I think it's really broken now. Yeah, but that's kind of really that article, guys. If you want to go read it more in depth or line for line, be my guest. I know I kind of went on a little bit of a soapbox on today, but guys, let's live with some contentment. Let's live with some financial freedom. Let's do things right. Let's stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Let's stop trying to impress people. Let's stop doing it for the gram, So guys, I appreciate you. I hope this was encouraging to you. Hope I didn't beat you up too bad. That's not the goal here. The goal is to help shape you up to where you are put into position and taking care of business. So let's do that. Guys, again, go ahead and hit subscribe if you're into the financial freedom that we teach here, if you're into the debt-free mafia. If you are interested in winning a shirt, we got to get to 100,000, or sorry, not 100,000. That'd be amazing. Let's get to just 100 first. 100 subscribers. I'm going to do a giveaway video for that. It'll be really cool. So, guys, I appreciate you for stopping by. Again, hope you have a really good week. We'll talk to you later. Peace. All right. Well, if you stopped by during the live, I appreciate you so much. You guys are awesome. Very thankful for all of you. Debt Free Mafia is growing. It is. It's very, very slow, but I am super pumped about it. On my client side, I've had more clients than ever. A lot of them are just really turning a page and changing their life, and that's why I know God's kind of purposed me to be here. I feel called to do all this content stuff, even though it's not easy. But if there's something, just text me, DM me. If you know me personally, text me, but DM me on any of these socials if you don't. If there's something you want me to cover or answer, I know one topic I have coming up that I am going to talk about is going to be the child tax credit, on whether or not you should opt in or out for that. I do need to do just a little bit more research on that. I do have some ideas of what should be done for that, but I need to understand it just a little bit better before I'm making the advice on that. So, man, if you did stop by, I appreciate you. I really do. Don't be afraid to say hey in the chat. It always lets me know that somebody's watching live, and it's way funner to do this with other people than all by myself. So guys, I appreciate you. Thank you again. I'm gonna make all these other videos that I did in this live stream available on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, and you can go back and it'll be more of a condensed and focused on each subject. So guys, I appreciate you. Thank you.